Guys, let's talk about one of the fun things about having excellent credit, because your girl sure just booked a whole trip to France, non-stop flight, round trip, got my son a ticket, all thanks to my credit card reward points. And a special thanks to me, myself, and my excellent credit. And I want you guys to do the same thing. Well, first we got to clean house, aka we got to talk about all the things you are not going to do before you perfect your credit. We are not doing credit repair. It can be so scammy. It can be sometimes illegal. And credit repair is a solution that is a band-aid, not even a good band-aid. And it really does not help people resolve their root problem, which is really, how much money do I bring home every single month? How much money am I spending every single month? And how can I control this? And especially as a mortgage lender, I see the real. I see the things behind closed doors. What I see oftentimes of people who do credit repair, unfortunately, I have to not pre-approve them for a mortgage because their credit repair person took them from bad to worse. And really, these credit repair companies are charging people $100 a month, $150 a month, $1,200 a person, all to dispute credit accounts that you know are accurate. You know that you did not pay that bill on time. You know that that collection belongs to you. Why hire someone to dispute something that you know you did? Here's the thing about disputes. You cannot have disputes and get a mortgage at the same time. Why? Because a dispute is essentially freezing your credit account. So let's say, for example, you have a 700 credit score, but you have 9 disputes on your credit report. 9 disputes, I don't know, it could be made up of collections or late payments, whatever. 9 disputes on your credit report, but you got 700 credit scores. So you walking around like you all that. So let's say you remove those disputes because they were indeed accurate. The credit algorithm is going to now pick up all those 9 negative items, and your 700 credit score is going to tank. Now, of course, you should dispute any inaccurate information or any fraudulent information. You can just pick up the phone and call the creditor directly and submit to them your supporting documentation to prove your position. And then make sure you get it in writing that, hey, this has been resolved and you guys are removing this from my credit report. I even came across a YouTube video where this credit repair person told everyone is to make the disputing process so time consuming, so meticulous, so overwhelming for the people on the other end, to essentially make the people on the other end give up. And so then when they give up, that's where they remove the negative item from your credit report. She admitted this on the internet. You guys, that is illegal, that is shady, and it is terrible, terrible advice. So now that we've talked about the awful credit repair, let's talk about how you can perfect your credit for free. The first thing you're going to do is whip out your credit report. Now, you can get a free credit report from annualcreditreport.com. And of course, you can use other sites like Credit Karma. And even with some of the credit cards you may have, they do offer free credit reports as well. So the first thing you're going to see at the top is your credit score. So credit scores range from 300 to 850. It's kind of weird saying that 300, like, oh, somebody out there with a 300 credit score? And let me add some perspective to the whole credit score thing. A 740 credit score versus a 640 credit score can mean easily a $300 difference in your mortgage payment. Which leads me to the most important piece of your credit score, are payments. Making timely payments makes up 35% of your credit score. First, we're going to look at every single trade line or credit report to see, are we paying things on time or not? So credit accounts typically have a 30-day window. Anytime you pay, let's say 1 day to 29 days late, it will not go onto your credit report. So let's say you have a credit card that's due March 1st and you happen to pay that credit card March 29th, it will not go onto your credit report. But let me tell you, the biggest thing I've seen with credit, you cannot put your head in the sand. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. Even though it doesn't go into your credit report, the best thing you can do is call your credit card company and say, hey, apologies, I somehow missed this credit card payment. Can you waive the late fee? And also, can you forgive me? 9 times out of 10, the customer service rep will waive that late fee. But the point of taking that step is keep that relationship with your creditor. So when it comes time for credit line increases or new lines of credit with that bank, and then if you are between 120 and 180 days late, that then will turn into a collection item. That creditor will sell your debt to a collection agency, and the collection agency will call you all the time and to collect their money, and then they will stick a big fat collection on your credit report that will last for 7 years. The only way to bounce back after a collection item is to do a pay and delete. So let's say you have a $5,000 collection item sitting there and you call the collection agency directly and you say, hey, listen, I will give you $2,000 to resolve this debt and to remove this from my credit report. So let's say the collection agency says yes. The biggest thing you have to do is get it in writing. Not because they're going to try to pull a fast one on you. You never know what type of notes this person is taking or if things get lost in translation. Once you receive a written agreement that they agree to resolve the debt and to remove it, you are golden. Easiest way to get around all this payment stuff is to set up Autopay. This way, at the bare minimum, you are paying the minimum. And what I'm about to say is a harsh reality, but if you cannot set up Autopay on your bills, that means you're either not making enough money or that means you do not know how to manage all the money that you make. Which is why I love my Rocket Money app, because listen, even when you set up Autopay, you still need some checks and balances. And what I love with Rocket Money app is I go in there, I create my budget, I link all my bank accounts, I link my credit cards. It sees every single expense, every single transaction, every single day. Of course, it'll notify me and say, hey, April, this Autopay is gonna hit in the next 7 days. It is so amazing. So it's always good to have your Autopay there as a safety net. But then on top of that, if you can, you should absolutely pay your statement balance in full. This way you're avoiding interest and you're staying disciplined. And let me add, a lot of these credit repair people will say, oh, you need to pay your credit card on this day, X amount of days before the closing day. Then you gotta do this, do that. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for scheming, plotting, planning. Well, no, we do have time for planning, but we don't have time for scheming and plotting, because pay your bills on time. And then if you can, pay the whole thing by this due date. The next factor in your credit score is your credit utilization. Credit utilization makes up 30% of your credit score. 30%. A good rule of thumb is to keep your credit card utilization at 30% or lower. Of course, if you have a $10,000 limit, your balance should be no more than $3,000. Now listen to me. I know that life happens. So let's say you are maxed out on your credit cards and you're like, oh my God, I maxed out and now I want my credit score to get higher because I want to buy a house or I want to whatever. We can fix that. What you're going to want to do, you're going to want to do a balance transfer. And a balance transfer is when you go get a new credit card to pay your old credit card. Now, it may sound like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, but you're not. So let's take, for example, you have a $10,000 credit card balance at a rate of 24%. It will take you 41 months to pay off a $10,000 balance plus an additional $4,700 just in interest. But here's where a balance transfer comes into play. Take that $10,000 balance, get you a credit card with a 0% introductory balance transfer rate. You will pay off that $10,000 balance in just 24 months and with no interest. So pay it off in half the time and no interest, or pay it off in double the time and I have to give the bank an extra $4,700. I think I'm gonna go do the balance transfer. The next one is credit history. Credit history accounts for 15% of your credit score. So of course, the longer you have an account, the better it is for your credit score. Sometimes I do see people with lower credit scores all because they don't have a lot of credit. So what you can do is become an authorized user. So go call your mom, your dad, your cousin, your man, somebody, and say, somebody with excellent credit, and say, hey, can I get on one of your credit cards, maybe your American Express or maybe your Chase Sapphire, and you don't even have to give me the credit card. Don't give it to me. Just let me piggyback and ride your good credit. Worst case, they'll say no, but find somebody that'll say yes. That way, your credit score every single month, it'll be like, do, 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 do. Another way to establish credit history is to have your cell phone or your cable bill to report to all 3 credit bureaus. So you literally can just call them and say, hey, I want this to report to my credit report. Boom. Another way to establish credit history is to get yourself a secured credit card. Now, a secured credit card acts like a prepaid card because you deposit money onto it, but the benefit is it reports to your credit report as a credit card. But the thing about secured credit cards is you have to choose a provider who is going to actually report to all 3 credit bureaus, because some of them do not. So please make sure you read the fine print. So the last piece of your credit score is your credit mix. Your credit mix makes up 10% of your credit score. So the credit algorithm is looking to see, okay, does this person have mortgages, installment debt, credit cards, inquiries, etc. Which I'm going to wrap up with the infamous inquiries. The infamous, oh, I can't buy a house because I don't want my credit pulled. Ma'am, how exactly are you about to get this house then? Soft inquiries don't even show up on your credit report. That's number 1. So it's tomato, tomato. Who cares? Hard inquiries do show up on your credit report. However, you do need hard inquiries to get a mortgage. Inquiries is a drop in the bucket. A drop. Hard inquiries don't even hurt your credit if you have good credit. Hard inquiries hurt people who already have jacked up credit. Why? Because take this for example. Let's say you have jacked up credit, you don't pay anything on time, you have collections, you have charge-offs, etc. And you're applying, you're like, oh, I want to get a new car. I want to get a new blah, blah, blah. I want to get a new credit card. Oh, now I'm trying to buy a house. Your credit score is going to be like ding, ding, ding. Because the credit algorithm is like, why is this person applying for new credit when they're not even managing the credit that they have? Whereas someone with good to excellent credit, a credit inquiry, what are you going to do? Not live your life? What are you going to do? Not be able to leverage yourself because you don't want an inquiry? Even a lot of the credit repair people, they focus so much on inquiries and do this, don't do this, do that, avoid inquiries, etc. That is just part of business. And also keep in mind that if you are shopping for a specific thing like a mortgage, you can do unlimited inquiries for a specific amount of time. It's usually 3 to 4 weeks, because you should not be obligated to the first lender that you talk to, all because you're scared to get another inquiry. So I hope that helped you guys understand how to get a perfect credit score. And if this was helpful to you, by all means, share this with a friend, send it with a pigeon with a note, I don't know. And I will be back next week with another video. So until next time.